Are you trying to lose weight, only you know you've got some bad habits that's stopping you on your weight loss journey? Well, in today's video, I'm talking to you about 4 stages in which you can change those bad eating habits to get to a healthier version of you. Hi, I'm Vanessa McLennan and I talk all things eating habits, poor eating habits, weight loss and emotional eating. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, so I help you get to the root cause of your eating so that you can lose the weight and ditch that diet forever. So keep watching, because I'm going to talk through 4 stages in which you can leave those bad habits behind and change them for positive habits for you. So diets don't work. Well, in the long term anyway. It's because they are generally just so restrictive and they are so prescriptive that it's really hard to mold your life around them, because that's what they're trying to do, is that you have to mold your life around this outside set of eating rules. Now, they're very good guidelines, but it depends on the diet, let's just say. But they're just unsustainable in the long term, because they don't take into account our people's habits, people's lifestyles, but also your own emotions and your thought patterns around them. So what you can do is work on your eating habits to leave those poor ones behind and let the positive ones evolve. So then just eating naturally or eating healthily becomes, that's it, a lot more natural, healthy and fun. So stage 1 is your starting point. So what are your habits in the first place? So this is our starting point, is knowing, well, what habits do we have and that we want to change? So it might be, well, I know I've got some, but I don't know what they are. So the first stage of any change is, the awareness. So it's then keeping a log of all your habits that you are going to want to change. So this could be going throughout your day and just keeping a log somewhere in your phone, on paper, of the habit that you've got and what you want to change. So it could be that you put, sugar in your tea and coffee. It could be that you eat, at the wrong time. It could be that you grab breakfast on the go at a shop, so of course it's really, really unhealthy, instead of making it yourself. Habit is a pattern that is formed over time, because really it's our brain's shortcut way of doing things. So some of the habits that we have can be really, really beneficial for us, because they cut down that time. And imagine doing something again and again and again for years and years and years, so that then we get to the stage, where we don't even think about it. If you drive a car, how many of you just get in a car? You don't even think about it. You just go to your destination, don't you? Well, when you're first learning, you've got to think of absolutely everything, haven't you? Of the pedals, the speed, everything. So this is what we're going to do with the habits. You've got to almost go back to the beginning and break it all down and look at exactly each habit on its own and which ones that you're going to break. So not only then keeping a log of the habits, have a look at what the trigger is of that habit. So if you put tea and sugar, for instance, in your tea and coffee, then the trigger could be like boiling the kettle, or it could be getting the mug out of the cupboard. So think that the trigger is something that causes you to do that pattern. So it could be a thought process, it could be something you see, it could be something that you feel, something that you do. So by identifying these triggers, then we can either look at changing the triggers or changing the patterns to go with that trigger. So phase 2 is what to change. So if you've listed out all of your habits, you could have a long list, and so to change all of those at once, it's just too much. That's why, again, diets aren't working, because it is just too much of a change at once, and hence so it's not sustainable. So prioritize which habit you want to change first and which one you want to work on first, so that you work on one at a time. So it's, books that I've read have said it takes, up to at least 21 days for a new habit to stick. So if you're trying to do so many habits at once, that's just it's not going to work, or it's too hard. So if you pick one habit at a time, and then you can focus on that habit and then implement a new routine every single day, with this new habit. So phase 3 is work out the change. So when you've listed all your habits, you also wanted to list down the triggers, so that you can then, now it's working out what you're going to change with it. So if you've prioritized your habits by now, take the first one and then look at, right, what is the trigger and what do I do? And then work out what it is that you want to change. So do you need a different trigger? And really what I would suggest is that you have the same trigger, because that might be part of your routine. For instance, like grabbing a mug out of a cupboard, well, you need to do that to have a drink. But what we are going to work out is what the different pattern is going to be. So what I want you to have a think about is, what do you want to do instead of the old habit? So the old habit could be, let's just go with the putting sugar in our teas and coffees, and a new habit could be, I don't want any sugar in my tea and coffee. So this comes then on to the next step. So my fourth phase is to really visualize and be. So once you've worked out then what you want the new habit to be, because you have to logically think about it and think, is it feasible, practical to do it? Then once you've worked that out and you know what it want it to be, you can just start to visualize. So the mind, won't know the difference between, well, it will have the same lines of what is reality and what is visualization. So if we can visualize and act out what the new pattern can be, it's a lot easier then to follow that through. So just sit in a quiet time, in a quiet area, and visualize you actually then practicing this new pattern. Now, what I would recommend is have at least 3 possibles of what you want this new outcome to be. So you've thought about it already, but then think of 2 other possibles that you could do. So if we go to the sugar and tea example, one sort of outcome could be, I don't want any tea and coffee. Sorry, I don't want any sugar in my tea and coffee. The second outcome could be that actually I want a different drink. I don't want to go tea and coffee. I want to go herbal tea and coffee. And the third habit could be that you just use a different form of sweetener, though I really wouldn't recommend it. I would just leave the sugar. Or it could be that you don't have any tea and coffee. So what I want you to do is visualize all 3 of those outcomes, and then really feel, so you're like looking through your own eyes and you're practicing and you're doing those 3 outcomes. Really feel what it feels like. After you've done that, so take your time to do that, you can pause me. After you've done that, work out how it felt. So was there one that was preferable? Was there one that you're like, no, that's really not going to work? Were there 2 that were like, actually that could, but actually it could form a new habit where you merge the 2 practices together? So again, then find the one that's really going to work for you. Visualize it again and again. Really get the feelings, bring up feelings of excitement, how you enjoy this new routine, and then keep doing it day after day. So keep doing that one habit, wait till it really, really sticks. So give it a good month, and then go on to your next habit. So comment below on what habit you want to change and how you're going to use my tips to help you. And please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Click the bell to be notified of my next video, which I'll bring out every single Thursday. And see you next week. Thank you so much.